because I have like no facial hair.
You look like a skater, dude.
No, I take it back. No.
I hate it.
What? I couldn't find my Carhartt one. The one that fits to my head. It's downstairs somewhere.
Oh. Welcome back to bathroom. The Amber. We're purely doing bathroom tunes because I need them in my life.
Yeah.
Been feeling extra anxious. So.
You know, I mean, it's supposed to keep it going anyways, but just, you know, life gets busy. Now that things are back to slight normalization, you know, hustle and bustle's back around and yada yada, and gets busy. But
Your hair looked fine. Why did you?
no, it didn't. It was like all like open over here. I just didn't want to mess with it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, hope you've had a great Father's Day today. Or Man's Day, I don't know. Because, you know, not everybody's a father today. And you need to make sure that you're, just like on Mother's Day, you're not being undersensitive about that. I mean, I know we're men and all, but you still need to... That whole stereotype of man needs to go away anyways, because just because we're men doesn't mean that we don't have our emotions on the underside of things, and we could be feeling things that we just don't make public, you know. So I don't care whether it's Mother's Day or Father's Day, you still need to be sensitive to those that don't have children that want them. So hopefully you've done that. It's a little too late to do that now because, you know, it's like 10:45 at night, but...
Hashtag infertility awareness.
Yes. Please make sure you're not making an idiot of yourself. Listen, I can say that because I had said that before, and I felt like an absolute butt.
Said what before?
I've said something insensitive, and I didn't know that I did until...
I feel like maybe we all have, though, because
so just be
you're not aware of things.
But that's what I'm saying. Treat everybody as if they are infertile.
That's a pretty good rule.
Unless you know for sure.
So we're helping to bring awareness.
Right.
And advising on how to be cautious.
Right.
You know what's annoying? I just gotta throw this out there, because to a degree I do agree with this statement, but then there's nothing wrong with being courteous with your words, because when people say things like, oh, everybody's so overly sensitive these days and everybody gets offended at everything, and okay, so why does it hurt you to be courteous of others' feelings with your words? Why is it more of a thing for you to be hateful and say everybody's so overly sensitive? Maybe just be sensitive. Why is it a bad thing to acknowledge people's feelings and to be courteous of their feelings? That just has irked me. Just like low-key, and not even really notice that it was bothering me until just now, because it kind of sparked the thought in my mind.
Which is kind of weird, because it's kind of like vice versa with manners. Not that everybody has, but I feel like respect for not even really your elders, just for other people's kind of gone out the window, like,
yeah,
with this generation, just a little bit, to the point of where, like, the yes ma'am, yes sir thing isn't it really... I still hear some people say it. I don't know about our generation or the one after it, but...
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's weird that that's gone out the window, and then people are angry that other people are so sensitive or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Like, when did it become unpopular to be respectful of your fellow man.
Right. To be just outright courteous.
And I know that sounds kind of odd coming out of somebody like me, coming out of my mouth, because I can seem abrasive, but I do try to be aware of other people's feelings and be respectful. And I know it's of course it's not human nature. You know why? Because human nature is sin. That's our human nature. That's our flesh's nature, is to respond hatefully or to respond short-tempered, but to...
sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you're
off.
fine.
I just thought, like, maybe it doesn't make sense because, you know, you get the Holy Spirit when you get saved, but the whole point of the Holy Spirit is to have a sensitivity of spirit, of emotion. He deals in the feelings of things, right? So I don't know, like, I get it, you know, people that are saved can be said about that. What?
I just had like an epiphany. Well, because Dad, when we were talking about everything going on with like the Black Lives Matter movement and with people who just seem so uncaring about the injustices that are clearly happening in our country, and he took us to that verse in Matthew where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says that in the last days many hearts will wax cold and become, you know, and that uncaring. So if your heart has waxed cold against your fellow man, you don't care about being respectful to their feelings. You don't care about how your words can hurt people. You don't care about... I feel like, man, the Facebook generation that we are, people think there are no consequences of what you throw out, fling into the net. Like, there are no consequences to bashing somebody on a comment feed, you know. And I've been attacked on a Facebook message that was supposed to be just something funny, but by two older men, and they were just commenting back and forth about how stupid I was. They don't know me, they've never met me, but that's okay to, like, you would never say any of that to my face. And it's just like, there's such a lack of care just across the board.
Hiding behind our keyboards and then seeing somebody face to face the next day and acting like it didn't happen.
Yeah. Like, would you really ever look somebody in the face and say the horrible things that you say on social media? Or would you ever, like, pull something up on your phone and put it in my face and say, this is why you're stupid. This is why I don't agree with you. No, it's like an excuse to be in conflict with one another.
There's like a rare occasion that a person would still be that way. And I've only met like a few. And any other time it's like, well, you say all this on social media. And then when it comes to talking to the person, it's more like, well, like, what do you think or whatever? And instead of being like, well, I think you're stupid, it's just like, well, I mean, you know, I don't.
Yeah, it's okay to not say things. It's okay to leave things unsaid. It's okay. And again, I know you can find hypocrisy in anything anybody says. Of course I'm a hypocrite. Of course I am, because I'm not perfect. And I'm not asking for perfection. I'm just asking for a bit more tact. Have a bit more self-respect, because if you respect yourself, you won't look for every opportunity to bring each other down. And that's like, at first I was a little aggressive with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I was kind of calling people out more so than like being encouraging. And I got whooped for that. Jesus corrected me of that you're not spreading more love, you're spreading aggression. So and it's only because of him that I want to be more purposed in how I share things, and I want to be encouraging with, you know, how I bring awareness to people and encourage people to expand their perspective, so that, because when we gain perspective, it helps us to be open to others' feelings and really understand what's important and what's not important.
And honestly, ultimately, what I was trying to say with the Holy Spirit thing, like, and being the sensitivity, I think that the devil is trying to put a foothold with that, with these, and it's not always the older generation. There's some people in our generations that feel that people are too sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's true, sometimes, but I'd say a majority of it is not. It's just how things are going these days. But I feel like the devil can definitely use that as a foothold because,
Mm-hmm.
let me try to say it this way. Say, for instance, somebody's struggling with something. Say, for instance, the infertility. Let's just bring that up. Say you say something insensitive to that person. And then maybe they get upset. And you're like, wow, why does everybody gotta be so sensitive? Well, one, you're not dealing with that problem.
That's right.
So I guess kind of look at it at a point of what are you sensitive about?
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you don't know what your words, you don't know
The weight that they carry.
how the devil's going to use what you said to that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to play over and over in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's going to use against them. Your words can be used for bad and you not even really mean for it.
That's true.
So that's the whole point of like, don't, like, oh, I'm not censoring. I'm not asking you to censor yourself. I'm asking you to think about how you're going to affect another person's life.
And maybe some self-censorship isn't such a bad thing.
Well, you know what I mean. But that's like, I've heard that before. You know, somebody said that to me. Like if I've told them, like,
I'm allowed to think what I want to think, and I'm allowed to feel what I want to feel, and I'm going to say whatever I want to say.
aren't we all? But we don't always. For instance, if you cut me off in traffic, I'm not going to cuss you out.
Right.
I may be upset in my head, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
Right.
And if I do say it in my head, I'm still going to be in the wrong because if you think it or you feel it in your heart, you've done it.
Yeah.
If I killed you in my heart, I've killed you. That's what Jesus said. I don't know
Right.
the exact verse and wording.
How many of us are actually guilty of murder?
Yeah, a lot.
Probably most of us.
Didn't mean to. I wanted to.
I actually talked to Jazz Fannin about us just like maybe turning this into like we should do a podcast.
A podcast?
Yeah.
That's scary.
No. It's basically what we do right now. We talk, we share our feelings, we tell people how they're wrong. No, I mean, or maybe not even a podcast, but like a webinar, a webisode.
A webisode?
I don't know what you call it.
But.
And actually having like themes. Topics that we talk about that we cover.
Interesting.
I think we'd enjoy it. There'd be more structure. We could still sing.
We could.
I like singing with you.
I love singing with you. So today's song is Run to the Father by Cody Carnes. I hope I said that right.
Cody Carnes.
Cody Carnes.
Mm-hmm.
It's N-E-S. That's still pronounced
It's
Carnes. I hate English.
I don't think it's English. And even if it is.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, just like, it's so stupid. We're one of the few languages that has a word that can mean 3 different things. One of the few.
It's true. We should speak like I love Spanish or Italian. I enjoy both of those. Because they're very, similar.
Yeah, that's what we're singing.
It's gonna be good. He's gonna lead.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a little nervous. It's gonna go great. Who almost dropped his phone? Listen, he already dropped his phone in a rock. Like,
Yeah, I don't even know if you can
cracked
see
it. Yeah, turn it. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Freaking fantastic.
So I gotta order some new screen covers for that.
I was like texting her or something, and when I was on a construction site in the gravel / mud, so it was mostly mud, and out of all the mud around me when I was walking, I dropped my phone and it hits a rock right on the. So anytime I swipe there, I cut my finger. It's pretty great.
Oh,
Well, not cut, but you get the little fibery glass filling in
yeah,
here.
that's annoying.
Do I need to hold it here?
Maybe. I'm good.
Okay. Hang on 1 second.
Mhm.
Bear with, everybody, bear with. Just need to.
I've carried a burden.
I've carried a burden
practice
Eh.
during beat tunes.
Sorry, my bad. I've carried a burden for too long on my own. I wasn't created to bear it alone. I hear your invitation to let it all go.
Amen.
Yeah, I see it now. I'm laying it down, and I know that I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, oh, oh. You saw my condition, had a plan from the start. Your son for redemption, the price of my heart. And I don't have context for that kind of love. I don't understand, I can't comprehend. All I know is I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, oh, again and again and again and again. Oh, oh. My heart is been in your heart long before my first breath, running into your arms is running to life from death. And I feel this rush deep in my chest, and mercy is calling out. Just as I am, you pull me in, and I know that I need you.
I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul found a friend.
Yep.
So I run to the Father again and again
and again and again.
Oh, oh, again and again and again and again. Oh, 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 again and again.
What happened?
I don't know. I think I definitely needed the melody for that part because he like changes it, and I was, ugh, that was awful.
Please stop shaking your leg.
That was my fault. My bad, guys.
It went
Because I think it was supposed to
absolutely
go.
fine. We don't even have to talk about it. Why we gotta talk about it? We don't gotta talk about it.
Oh no, what I do want to talk about is. So, I guess my question is, have you ever been in a situation.
You can tell I aggravated.
You made me feel so claustrophobic. I don't know why. It wasn't even your fault, but I think it's because we're already in
A lean back.
tight space. I don't know, like, have you, his first verses, I think. You know, like carrying a burden. Have you carried something that you just thought that you, one, didn't need to bring to God, or two, you just didn't want to bring to God?
Yes.
Because you were ashamed of it, or you were prideful, and you were like, I can take care of this.
Yes.
You know, because we've all done that, but I guess my thing is like, if you're currently doing that, no matter what it is, you just need to, one, either be humble. Well, it actually kind of takes that anyways. You need to be humble. And you need to stop thinking you can do it on your own. Because you can't. Because you can't. You may think you're making progress and you're not. What you're really doing is you're damaging yourself and you're distancing yourself from God. Because when we take something out of His hands, then that kind of puts Him just at a little bit of a distance from us. And it's not even Himself, it's us. We put ourselves at a distance. We push Him, He's a rock, right? So when we push, we're pushing ourselves away. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Because He is the rock of
Right.
our foundation. Jesus, the Father, the Holy Spirit.
More likely to push yourself away than you are to move the rock.
Right. So just kind of visualize that if you're holding on to that burden and you're pushing against God, imagine you're pushing against a wall or a rock. That wall's not going to go anywhere. That rock's not going to go anywhere. You're the one going distance. What?
I raised my hand.
You raised your hand.
I didn't interrupt you.
I didn't care. I don't care.
So kind of to at least share my own individual situation that I've got going on. It's easy to look at everything that's happening in the world, not just in our country, not just in our state, in the world, and to get very overwhelmed. And I think I've been dealing with a lot of that overwhelming desire for things to be better or to fix things. And just coming up short, obviously, because I'm looking at everything in my own power. Like, what is within my own power to do about everything that's happening? What is in my own power to do? You know, we kind of had talked about it in previous bathroom tunes, which was, you know, you can vote, you can, you pray, you can encourage others, you can do this, you could do that. And that even was coming from a place of like, what I can do. What can I do? What can I do? And God is just pulling me back to this place where He's reminding me, like, I'm in control. I have always been in control. I will always be in control. And that I've also seen that people have kind of discredited just praying about things, that praying about it's not going to fix anything.
Which is
When in reality,
so wrong.
that is our biggest weapon that we wield.
Like, not only does a fervent prayer get God's attention, as if it's not even already on you, but it's like he wants to know that we trust Him enough to bring Him things. Like, He knows what we need. He's always got His eye on us, but He wants to see us follow through a act of faith.
That's right.
On Him, that we would just bring something to Him in prayer
And trust Him with it.
And not only does that, one, brings God's attention that you're I guess I'll just say that you're trying, but it also opens up your heart to be more vulnerable to Him. Because when we don't want to pray and we don't want to bring something to God, and I'm speaking from experience, when we don't want to pray, we don't want to bring something to God, I would call it a feeling of closedness and just like hardening your heart almost to the idea of like, well, I don't even know, like maybe you feel like you're whiny or something to God, or maybe you just are prideful. It's just like one of those things. It could be anything, but I think ultimately what it comes down to is a sense of vulnerability that we're trying to avoid by bringing something to God. So you need to break out of that, and you need to be able to pray, because you pray, you get your solution heard, and then you also get yourself fixed in the process, because you're keeping yourself open to God. You're saying, here I am, I'm giving this to you, and in return, he might just like put a little bit of touch back in here, which will soften you up, make you more sensitive to the Spirit, more sensitive to his word and what he has to say to you. And you can't, I don't know, you just can't say that prayer doesn't work, because it does. I've seen too many things.
It's just, I think, mainly spoken out of frustration, because to pray might feel to be inactive to those people. You know what I mean? Like, but what are we physically doing? And it's not wrong to do those things. You know what I mean? Like, of course, do your part. Of course, vote. Of course, encourage others. Of course, spread love and positivity. Of course, educate yourself. Widen your perspective. Of course, do those things. But you need to know the power that is in prayer. And you need to know that ultimately God is in control. And I know that's confusing for people who don't know Jesus, to be like, really? He's in control? He's in control of all these terrible things that are happening? He's in control of this and in control of that? But that's just a basic understanding of knowing that as soon as, you know, the fall happened and that we were, as human beings, removed from the garden, we live in a fallen world, in a sinful world of free will. People don't make, you know, like, God isn't like just orchestrating these horrible things to happen to us to punish us. You know, it's not, that's not how any of this works.
No,
But 2 Chronicles 7:14 does say, if my people, whose people? God's people, who are called by my name, will turn from their wickedness, will humble themselves, and will seek my face, then I will hear them from heaven, and I will heal their land. I'm confident, because what's in the Bible is either true or it's a lie. Everything, from Genesis to Revelation, you either believe it or you don't. Everything that's in there is either true or it's a lie. You can't pick and choose what fits your prerogative or your narrative, because that's like everybody's favorite word right now. Okay? So...
Oh, narrative.
Prerogative.
Yeah, prerogative.
So, we must remain confident in his ability to hear us from heaven, that he will heal our land. But that also means that we need to be doing our part, that we need to hear him. We need to turn from our wickedness. We need to humble ourselves. We need to seek his face. Are you actively seeking his face? Every day. Are you focused on Jesus? Are you worried about him? Is your vision on heaven? Or are you looking at everything around you in this world? Are you placing your importance here? Are you laying up your treasures in heaven? Are you stocking up stuff down here? Are you worried about what's, you know, putting stuff up? You know what I mean?
One prayer that I've been like doing in the morning to start my day off, because I was like, I don't know, I was like going through a low place there for a while, and so I was trying to do my best to flood myself with nothing but like godly music and stuff, and not even godly music. I was trying to make sure that I wasn't letting my emotions run rampant, and by doing that, because your emotions could be crazy if you're listening to any type of music, really. So there was a point, like a whole week, I did nothing but just listen to sermons on the way home, sermons on the way to work. So I didn't have to listen to any kind of music, didn't have to feel any kind of way. I just listened to somebody talk. But there's one like morning sermon I was listening to, but he said a prayer. He's like, are you searching for God's will or whatever? Or like, do you want God? He's like, and I'll tell you this, but he's like, this is direct play. Because he was talking about, I think it was like Paul or Peter in the Bible, talking about how he was specific with his prayer. There was no reading what he prayed in the Bible and misjudging what he meant to be asking of God. Like, there's no like, oh, well, he could have meant this or that. No, he prayed it so specifically for the reason of no misunderstanding. That this is what he needed from God. This is what he wanted from God. And he said, we need to sometimes pray specifically so that there is no misinterpretation from ourselves and no misinterpretation from God, which there wouldn't be. But he said it in a way I can't say it now. But the prayer is, God, please open up the spiritual wisdom inside of me, or grant me your spiritual wisdom so that I may know your will and grow closer to you and fall better in line with what you want for my life. So it's grant me your spiritual knowledge is what I used the wrong word. Spiritual knowledge, not our knowledge, his spiritual knowledge, because his spiritual knowledge is better than our knowledge.
Right.
And he would know better than us, because he created us, what he wants for our life. So you pray that. It's praying, please show me what you want me to do with my life, basically.
He orders our steps, but we make the choice.
So
Does that make sense?
I guess that's kind of my question. Like, are you looking for his will, or are you just making things up as you go?
Also, really quickly, because I know we're kind of running over. As far as what Jeremiah said, like your feelings when you're just taking all of those different things in, we focus a lot on like reaping what we sow, right? But what you sow to your ears and your eyes and your mind and your heart is what you're gonna reap. So I love music. I love all kinds of music, but and however I can tell that the closer I come to Jesus and seeking his will for me, the less need I have for listening to worldly music. I mean, and that goes for like shows that I watch and movies that I watch. I can just feel him pulling those things away from me, because when I watch those things, because you're consuming them, you're not physically eating them, but you're consuming those things. That's what's inside of you, in your brain, in your heart, and it's just thinking and being wise about what you're taking in, because that's what you're going to reap. So if you're, sowing scripture and you're sowing good movies that are holistic and not inappropriate, if you're sowing, not just Christian music, but music that's not inappropriate, because listening to Ella Fitzgerald or Billie Holiday is not is not Christian music, but it's also not inappropriate. So if you're sowing good things, you're going to reap good things. You're going to have good things in your soul. You're going to have good things in your heart and in your head. Mm-hmm. So be thinking about what you're taking in versus, I don't know. I don't know. I have no words left, and it's 34 minutes in.
Well, one last thing from myself, but because Pops was talking today about the parable of the woman that was trying to find her coin, and he was talking about the word that we just words in the Bible that we just kind of sweep over. No pun intended. That was one of the words. But it's just I was thinking about, I was listening to Amber talk, and I was also just looking at these lyrics. And I'm just thinking the deeper meaning of the lyrics. Maybe we sing it and we don't really fully think about it, but the chorus is, I run to the Father. And before that it was, yeah, I see it now, I'm laying it down, and I know that I need you. So he figures out that he needs God, that he has a burden that he can't carry anymore, and he runs to God. He doesn't say, I go to the Father. He says, I run to the Father, because once you figure out, like, that the burden you're carrying, you need to give it to God, I feel like there's definitely a sense of urgency in you to, like, because you get caught up in, like, the emotions of, like, what have I been doing this entire time? So he's like, I'm going to run to the Father and give it to him. I fall into grace. I read that as, like, I fall into grace. Like, I'm just so overwhelmed with this burden. I need you to take it. What's he doing? He's falling down into the arms of the Father. He's falling into grace, because I'm imagining that if grace had a feeling, it would definitely be like a hug. Definitely, for sure. I'm done with the hiding. That's kind of self-explanatory. Like, you don't want to hold on to it anymore. There's no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon. Why does his heart need a surgeon? Because it needs fixed. Because he's been holding on to this problem, this burden. And if we hold on to a burden, say you're holding on to something really heavy, what happens to your muscles? They start to strain. They start to get weaker. They start to tear. They create micro tears, which is how you build muscle, actually, with lifting weights. But if you're holding on to something really heavy, your arms get tired, and then you start to feel that micro tearing, right? So what? Imagine if you're holding this burden in your heart this entire time. What's going to happen to your heart holding on to this burden? It's going to cause tears. It's going to cause problems that if you just would have gave it over, you wouldn't need. So my heart needs a surgeon. He needs his heart fixed because he's held on to this burden for too long. My soul needs a friend. Like, that one is, like I said, I mean, it's self-explanatory too, but, like, because, I mean, in that moment of weakness, all we want is a friend to be there with us, you know? And what is Jesus, what is God, if not, you know, the greatest friend that you'll ever have? But, I don't know, I just had that thought reading at that, so I figured I'd share that. Hopefully, maybe somebody need to hear that, but...
You were always the man I was meant to marry.
Why is that?
I don't know. I was just thinking about being a little thirsty girl when I was a teenager and liking every boy, like, ever
Is
in
this soon enough
school.
for you?
And no. And, well, yes, but and youth group, and just, like, not understanding why none of those ever worked out, and just because you were always meant to be the right one. It was always you.
Oh, thanks.
He brought us together.
It was always you.
I should just trust Jesus. I'm
Okay.
not good at that.
What
That's
can
just a
you-
whole another life lesson that we can't get into right now.
Life lesson over.
I just like listening to you talk about Jesus, so.
Oh, well, I mean, I enjoy talking about Jesus.
Okay.
Alright, well, it's hot and sweaty in here, so we love you. Goodbye.